Hello, and today we'll be playing Memoir. So we're going to continue with Oscar. Going inside, there's a much smaller number of students than were at the lecture. Noticing my confusion, Lily clears it up pretty fast. Oh, there's actually multiple different second classes. They're run by assistant professors, not Professor Merkel. He only does Monday lectures, even though he's our professor. Why are there multiple different classes? Since these are more practical-based classes, more one-on-one attention is needed, and that isn't really possible in a class of 250. Well, that makes sense. So they're split into one on each of the days. Each a class of 50. If you got the Monday one, you get the practical before the main lecture. It's really awkward. That makes sense. I guess I didn't really think about it that much. Though to be fair, it's hard to think at all today. Sitting at the table farthest from the front is Lee, Oscar, and Lucas. Despite sitting at the same table, they're definitely not sitting together. It's a large square table, like the rest in the class, each of them sitting on different sides, the final side being pressed against the wall. It almost feels like they're avoiding each other. I thought we were on pretty decent terms after yesterday's lunch. Then again, Lee was always distant and Lucas wasn't really comfortable with either of those two. Oscar was looking at us as we approached, definitely much more chipper. Hey, welcome to the party. If these were the college parties I was promised, I'll be very disappointed. They laughed together quite fondly. Thankfully, the room is filled with students chatting, so it isn't particularly intense and grabbing. Lee seems to be looking at me, a concerned look covering his face. Not enough sleep? You have no idea. How much? 2 hours? Fucking hell, kid. What were you thinking? I was up all night, reading a diary and doing some research. Thought it might help. He gives me a deep sigh, but he doesn't seem upset, just concerned. Jesus, please try to get more sleep. You look like you're about to fall and eat shit again. Lucas doesn't have as pronounced a reaction as Lee, but he still looks interested in our conversation, or maybe he's just trying to distance himself. I didn't notice it until now, but Lucas looks pretty bad too. A familiar bad look. It's the same one from the first lecture. What time did you go to sleep? Around 5 a.m. His ears flick at that end, and he raises an eyebrow, not giving away an ounce of what he's thinking. Lee, on the other hand, sighs and runs a hand across his face. At what time did you wake up? 7. Lee looks like he's about to slam something on the desk. I don't think he's angry, just extremely baffled. Lucas looks unperturbed. In fact, he seems pretty unsurprised. That's fairly late. That's around when I went to sleep. At that end, and how wide Lee's eyes are, he's just a sot, but Lucas clarifies before either of us can interrupt. I don't have to get up at 7. It's not that bad. All my other classes are online, so I can stay home and do them later than usual. Wish I was fucking there instead in this shithole. There it is. I was thinking Lucas was acting surprisingly calm compared to the last 2 days. Lee doesn't even react, instead opting to revert back to his distant, quiet mode. So, what's with the distance? You guys look like you're trying to stay as far away from each other as possible. Lee must have finished her conversation with Oscar because he suddenly talks to all of us. I didn't want to ask, but it doesn't seem like Lily has any reservations about that kind of thing. I wanted to sit next to them, but when I tried to sit next to Lucas, he told me to fuck off. He gives a big laugh at that, treated the whole thing like a giant joke. Then I asked the bad boy over there, and he just shook his head. Now I'm sitting all lonely over here. Despite giving some puppy dog eyes at the end, he can only hold it for a few moments before smirking again. I don't feel like getting groped, Smiley. Oh, are we actually doing that nickname? Lee just shrugs and doesn't respond. Instead, someone else does. Listen, meathead, you have no respect for personal space. Lee just nods in agreement, likely not really wanting to verbally contribute. Boo, you guys are no fun. Nothing wrong with a little fun between the bros, right? No one reacts to that one, leaving only a poignant, deadpan silence. With no one playing along, he gives up that charade and turns his focus onto me. He's got a mischievous look in his eye that has me worried. What about you, Wallace? You gotta give me a nickname too? What? Come on, man. Everyone else has. You gotta give me one too. I considered pointing out that Lucas wasn't exactly giving him a nickname, it was just insulting him. Then again, Oscar doesn't really seem to mind being insulted. He just finds it hilarious. I don't know. I like Oscar. It's fitting and fun. I like calling you that. That catches him off guard for some reason. Is that a bashful expression on his face? It must be more tired than I thought. Oh, jeez, man. You gotta make me blush. Alright. You can call me Oscar. That's your name. Suspected he used that anyway. You're exceedingly dense. Well, let's take our seats. Lily seems to quickly interject into their bickering. She leans over and whispers into my ear. Before someone says something they can't take back. So? She's suddenly much louder and unfortunately still next to my ear. Leaning away from her so I don't lose my hearing, I manage to catch the rest of it at a reasonable level. Where do you want to sit, Wallace? Specified. Where do you want to sit, Wallace? Best decide fast. Looks like class will start soon. So, Oscar. Walking over to the altar, I notice he's been watching me the whole time. The grin that's plastered across his face is something I've come to associate with him. It's hard to imagine him not smiling. He's wearing the same button-up shirt he wore on Monday. This must be what he wears to more professional environments. Now that I'm paying attention to his shirt again, a glint of metal reminds me that he has a necklace on. Wonder what it is. If you want, I can show you more than just the top of my chest. My eyes instantly go up to Oscar's face, his blue eyes swirling with a mix of amusement and something else. I'm sure he's kidding, and I'm about to give my own playful reply, but I'm cut off by him reaching up and beginning to actually undo the top button. My ears go up in flames, and despite my mind racing at an insane speed, my body completely freezes up. Oscar. Lee's voice is stern and blunt. I can see him glaring at Oscar out of the corner of my eye. The muscle only gives a snicker in response, but pulls his hands away, all buttons intact. He's still staring at me, that massive grin never leaving his face. So, you want to join me, or are you chickening out? I give a silent nod, my ears still burning. My head can't help but look down at the ground as I approach his side of the table. Before I can make it past him, he puts a hand on my chest to stop me. I'm not even giving a chance to respond before his tail comes up under my chin, lifting it to look directly at me. His face is extremely close, and I can feel my blush deepening. My face feels extremely hot. Despite all the teasing earlier, he looks a lot more sincere now. His long and thick tail caresses my chin. Softly, I can't help but relax a little bit. The smile still plastered across his face seems to grow too. But what really catches my attention are his eyes. I've always noticed they were blue and shimmering, but up close they remind me of the ocean as the sunlight ripples across the waves. Hey, I'm just yanking your chain here. I never do something you're not comfortable with. Just let me know if I go too far, okay? Like with your name. His smile does falter with that, giving it a worried tint. It's just now I'm reminded who I'm talking to. Also has been nothing but kind and nice to me so far. Still he's flirty, but he's the first person to reach out and help me. Feeling much better and more secure, I move on and sit next to the otter. My flustered face has thankfully receded back to normal. Oscar's bouncing in his chair. He looks very excited, and I don't know if it's because I'm sitting next to him or because I've cheered up. So, what's the necklace of? What's the necklace? Is it like a gift or something you thought was cool? For the first time since I've met Oscar, he looks generally uncomfortable. No games or messing around, just uneasy. He avoids looking at me, and Steele's expression on his face is a stark contrast from the smile he usually sports. Let's not talk about that. Oh, sorry, I didn't know it was a touchy subject. Don't worry about it. I just don't like to dwell on things, okay? Yeah, sorry. I already forgot about it. As if everything is back to normal, he gives me another one. His signature smiles like the last couple seconds didn't happen. He really doesn't like to dwell on the bad thoughts, but I can't help but get a sinking feeling in my chest. I hope I didn't drown his mood. He acts like someone who'd hide being sad. Okay, students, quiet down. The room goes silent almost instantly, everyone turning to face the professor. Thankfully, Oscar and myself are sitting on the only side of the table facing the front. I can see the professor clearly. The others have to turn, so what? I'll pass the sign-out seat around. Then we'll get started. I'm barely able to pay attention, my eyes straining to focus on the professor. My short nap definitely wasn't enough. At least we're finally discussing things to our groups. I don't think I could focus on the professor for a moment longer. Lily's regurgitating what I told her earlier, but it just sounds like white noise to me. Shh, Wallace. The thought as I turn my head towards Oscar, he's missing his smile, and that alone makes me pay attention to what he's saying. You look like you're about to pass out. Do you need help? If you want to sleep, I can cover for you. I shake my head slowly, not wanting to be a burden. I can't. You guys need my help with the project. He gives just a nod, and surprisingly no verbal response. When I turn back to look at Lily, I'm given a very delayed reaction by the otter. All I have as a warning is the sound of the neighboring seat scuffing close to me. Oscar wraps his arms around my neck. Before I have a chance to respond, he pulls me closer. My face presses to his chest, and my mind immediately goes to how firm his chest is. I know he's strong, but just how ripped he is still surprises me. Not wanting to come across as too awkward, I make sure I'm still facing the others. Lee flicks his eyes towards us for a moment, but doesn't say anything, and it doesn't look like Lily or Lucas have noticed. Let me know if this makes you uncomfortable. At least like this, you can have someone support you in a place to sleep just in case. His hands just rest on the top of my head, and he rubs it softly. I've never had someone pat my head before. It feels really nice. Time passes by slowly. The chatter around me is muffled to an indecipherable collection of noises. I want to go home and pass out as soon as possible. Barely any time must have passed, though, since Lily hasn't asked for my input or the diary yet. Instead of a blissful end of class, my phone buzzes against my leg. I don't remember setting it to vibrate, I must have done it without thinking. I pull it out of my pocket. It's a text, but my eyes can't focus on the name. Opening the message, it displays only 2 words and the name of the sender. I'm sorry. I feel nauseous. It's as if a bucket of ice cold water has been dumped on me. All my fur bristles. I'm suddenly very aware and uncomfortable with where I am. I can't. I can't be here. I need to leave. Now. Panic begins to surge in me, and I stand up, almost knocking over the chair as I do. Whoa, Wallace, what's up? I don't stop to say anything and just keep heading towards the exit. Wallace, what's wrong? I saw the door open, near slamming it with how much of a hurry I'm in. But I can't even bring myself to give a shit about that. Before I know it, I'm right in front of the stairwell. Everything is so surreal right now. It feels like reality is collapsing around me. It's like trying to crush me into paste. Not wanting to spend another second here, I take the first step before I'm suddenly interrupted by my phone again. Opening it up, I'm instantly greeted by that same message. I'm sorry. Suddenly, there's a cracking sound. My phone lays broken in half on the ground, screen completely dead and disembodied from my phone. Claws dig into my hands, unclenching them so hard I almost stabbed myself. My breathing is deep and heavy, panting like I've run a marathon. Turning away again, I run up 5 more steps before a horrific noise catches my attention once again. It's my ringtone, except there's something very, very wrong. The noise is stretching out, distorting itself beyond recognition into something sinister. It's painful and grotesque. I don't turn around though. I can't move at all. That's when something more horrific happens. The stairs in front of me are changing. They stretch upwards. No, that's wrong. It's like it's gaining more steps, getting higher and higher. What? What the fuck? As it grows taller, it curves around into a spiral. I still can't move. It's like I'm being held in place by an impossible force. Not only that, but the stairs' material change. Even the ones below me are shifting, changing from lino to wood. It doesn't just change, but ropes appear to be wrapping around each plank. And they are definitely planks now. I can see the floor and the gaps between the stairs. Even the handrail I'm clutching onto has rope now twisted around it. I don't understand what's happening. It keeps twisting and growing until I'm just looking straight up at a now spiral staircase. I can't even see the top. Turning around, go to head back inside the classroom before noticing that the door is now missing. The wall is instead smooth with no indication that there ever was a door to begin with. That awful sensation increases like the world's actively mocking me. Am I hallucinating? Have I finally lost my mind? Just as I thought things couldn't get more horrific, my eyes are drawn to the ground. My phone is still sitting there, but only for a second. Then the ground underneath it falls. There's no other way to describe it. It just falls away, drops into some kind of black void, and the hole grows too until the entire floor has broken away. Now the only place to stand is on the stairs. I'm gripping onto the handrail tightly. My legs are completely trembling. Tears well up in my eyes. What's going on? Hello? Can anyone hear me? There's no response at all. Oscar, anyone? I'm alone. But I'm not allowed to wallow in my stupor for long as a new noise fills my ears. The sound of wood breaking. Looking down once again, I see movement on the bottom step. The bottom step is cracking before my eyes. It breaks away and drops into the dark abyss below. Painted with surfaces to the forefront of my brain, and I'm already moving. The sound of heavy steps echoes out into the darkness as I bolt up the stairs. The awful sound of wood snapping continues much faster and louder this time. I don't look back. It's catching up on me. I can't afford to slow down. I pass what would have been the top of the building, the walls that have stopped running alongside the stairs. The wall is just darkness. It's hopelessly empty. The only thing that I can see are the stairs ahead of me, and now I can hear are my footsteps and the crackling behind me. Said cracking is getting closer and closer. I'm feeling well beyond out of breath already. My legs are screaming, and I feel like I could pass out any second. The cracking is right behind me now. It won't be much longer till I don't even want to think about that. It's a bit above me. I can make out a dark mass at the top of the stairs. I must be close to wherever this leads. My heart feels like it's going to burst out of my chest, but from a fear and exhaustion. I'm not even paying attention to what's in front of me anymore. I'm just running, and my foot goes to lift up. The plank below, it cracks and falls, and I'm suddenly lurched forward. Instead of falling against wooden planks or into the deep abyss, I hit solid ground. I can't move for a while. I can only lie there in exhaustion. My body is extremely sore. A prickling sensation stabs through my entire lower body. It feels like I can't breathe. Each gas only gives me so much air. After what feels like hours of just panting on the ground, I can finally move again. I rustle my body back to my feet, my legs still feeling a bit wobbly but aren't aching much anymore despite my rest likely only being a few minutes. Looking around, my surroundings are familiar but warped. It's the same hallway I just came from to get into the stairwell, except now the walls and floors are covered in what looks like rubber. The floors are made out of wood. Walking through the corridor, I can't help but want to scream. I wish I knew what was happening. If it was a hallucination, surely something would have happened to me by now. I would have walked into the wall or something. A voice echoes around, and it nearly startles me into sprinting away again. Wallace, you okay? The voice is smooth, and there's a sense of energy coming from it. It reminds me of Oscar, so I can only assume it's him. Before I can really process what I'm hearing, my surroundings shift again. It sails to what looks like some kind of fancy hallway. I can't tell much before it changes back. Oscar, is that you? I yell out with all my strength, my throat feeling hoarse from all the breathing. When no response happens, I have to hold back the growing feeling of panic welling in my chest. Who knows what might happen if I stay around here. I gotta keep moving. Before too long, I spot something in the distance, a door. Running up to it, there's a room number clearly written across the top, room 004, the same room I just came from. Underneath it is smaller writing. It's rough, like it's been scratched into the metal. Come inside. There's an awful feeling in my chest, hitting that this will be a very big mistake. Calming my nerves, I pull down on the handle, slowly opening the door. The loud squeaking of the door only adds to the dread in the air. The room is dark, but there is enough light from the hallway coming in to let me see what's inside. The entire middle of the room is missing. There's just a walkway going around the perimeter of the room. The entire center is missing. In the very middle of the room is a platform raised higher than the rest of the room. On close inspection, it's actually multiple platforms stacked on top of each other. They're all connected to the same support beam behind them. Looks like there's 10 platforms in total in the pile. On the top of the highest platform is a horror unlike anything I've seen. A person stands there with their arms tied behind their back. Their feet are tied together as well. I can't even see their tail behind them. The most horrific part is that over their head is what looks like a potato sack, and what looks like a noose around their neck. A noose around their neck. It's a gallows. My blood turns to complete ice and my body moves before I'm able to think. I enter the room without a moment's hesitation. Oh my god, holy fuck, are you okay? Can you hear me? The only response I get is a panicked, muffled sound. They must be gagged. The sound of gears turning begins to fill the room. I'm not sure what's happening, but I can already tell it's bad. I run around the entire perimeter of the room, but there's no platform connecting directly to the center. What I do find is a folded down platform on the back of the center support. On the center support beam that must connect to the back part of the walkway when lifted. As I investigate, a loud snapping sound startles me and I almost lose my footing. When I went back around to where I started, I see the platform at the very bottom of the gallows has folded down. The sound of the gears start up again, and it's only now I realize that they in it when that snapping noise happened. Must be waiting to drop the platforms run out of time. Oh shit. Whoever is on the top platform is hysteric now. They're thrashing in their bindings with no avail. I'll get you down, I swear. Now that I take my focus away from the center, I notice something on the ground at the edge of the walkway is in front of the door. It's a little box with a keyhole and some writing across the top. Emergency stop. Can you save them, Wallace? A sense of dread fills my chest. I have to ignore it for now, even if it was, even if it is talking to me directly. This must be the way to stop the platform from falling. It has to be, but the key isn't anywhere around here. Where the fuck is it? That awful snapping sound happens again, and I see another platform has dropped. There's only 8 left. It seems one drops every minute, if I had to guess. Checking the rest of the room, there doesn't look to be any key or anything that can even contain one. It's just an empty room. Quickly, I rush out of the room and run further down the hall. I'm vehemently on the lookout for anything out of place. Something that might be a key or contain one. Anything. The sound of the platform snapping again makes me run as fast as I can, almost tripping as I bolt down the hallway. My legs began to burn again, but I ignored them. I feel like I've ran more today than I've ran in my entire life. My heart has never pumped this hard or fast before. I'm about to lose all hope when I see something in the distance. It's another door. Almost slamming into it, I grab the door handle and yank it open. As it opens, I catch a glimpse of the plaque across the top. Maintenance closet. There's also some smaller writing below it. Is another awful message directed at me. Will you let him die, Wally? Once into the doorframe, I'm greeted by relieving sight. A key is sitting on a table near the far wall. I'm about to step inside when I register the rest of the room. It's completely floorless, save for a small section where the table sits and one long plank that connects that to the door. The plank looks to be in a bad state. It's decaying and about to completely fall apart. I wouldn't be surprised if it broke any second on its own, let alone if I'm walking on it. The length of the room is longer than my daughter's bedroom. But I can't just leave them to hang. I've got to save them. I need to save them. I don't have time to think this out. No matter what, I refuse to be too slow. How shall I approach this? I'll rush before it breaks. I can't afford to waste time. If I go slow, I might make it across more safely, but that might take too long. That person will get. No, I refuse to let that happen. I won't let that happen. With the final reassuring breath, I basically skip onto a platform. My right foot hits the wood hard, and I immediately push off it, throwing myself forward before I lose any momentum. As my right foot lifts, a cracking sound rings throughout the room. I don't have time to look back, and I just force myself across the rest of the way. The tension in the air is stronger than anything else. I swear I can hear the blood rushing into my ears. As I take another launching step, my knee almost buckles under me. Seizing my legs are absolutely burning. I didn't think about how much I ran. I don't think they'll collapse. The impact just caught me off guard. With my long leaps, 3 steps already takes me halfway. I almost lose my balance, but I manage to throw myself forward enough to take the final step before falling. Crashing onto the platform, I land awkwardly on my side. Fear of breaking something surges through me just like the pain. I turn on my back, testing my arms, movements around and flex my fingers. It seems everything is intact despite the pain. Lying there for several seconds, I'm forced back to reality by echoing snapping sound from down the hall. Shit, the thrill of walking this wooden tightrope has made me completely forget why I was doing this in the first place. My heart was throbbing and my ears had entirely run across. I don't know how many I missed. Grabbing the key, I don't even bother to look at it as I shove it in my shirt pocket. Looking back at the plank, I see the source of that crackling noise from earlier. Near the end by the door, a long stride away from it, there's a horizontal split across the wood and it's dented down slightly. There's going to be a problem. I don't have time to think about it, though as I force myself to take that first step back. As my foot hits the plank again, it slips and I'm forced to slam my hand down on the wood to stop myself from falling. I didn't realize how slippery this was. I worried I might have doomed myself with that crash, but it only caused the entire plank to bend downwards more. That's still a terrifying sight, though. And I wanted to keep my weight on it much longer. I forced myself to stand up and take another step. A few more steps later, and the crack is close enough that I can no longer ignore it. The entire plank is groaning, and I think I can hear it splitting across the whole thing. I just need to go for it before it breaks apart. Thrusting all my momentum forward, I take a step just past the crack and throw my body forward. Moments after my foot touches the wood, the crack breaks apart, causing the entire plank and myself to drop. As I'm falling, I reach out for what I can in front of me. I'm trying to grasp anything I can anything I can get my arms on. Slow, agonizing seconds slowly pass until I feel the bottom of the doorway slam into my stomach. I squeeze loudly, but manage to throw one of my hands through to grab the side of the door frame. I'm grateful for how thin I am as I'm able to slowly pull myself up. My entire body wriggled like a worm to make some ground. After a minute of painful crawling, I'm able to hoist up the rest of my body through the door. I'm coughing loudly, and I worry I might have broken a rib, but it doesn't feel like I caused significant damage. Just a stoic. I hope that's not just the adrenaline. It takes me a couple of attempts before I'm able to stand, my legs trembling but holding strong. A little sense of panic fills me as I check my pocket. The key is still in there, little blessings. The snapping sound echoing down the hall forces me into top gear as I bolt down the hall again. I'm sprinting at full speed down the empty hallway on the lookout with a door to the gallows. Was it this long before? I wasn't really paying attention to how far I went when I first came down here. That painful searing sensation rises in my thighs, and I know I gotta get there soon. In the distance, I can finally see the door. At first I slow down in relief before remembering how urgent the situation is. I slam into the door roughly. A groan pushes through my body and I feel some wind leave my lungs. Opening the door, I fall inside just in time to see another platform start down. There's only 4 platforms left. I run over to the box, pulling the key out as I do. In my rush, I fumble the key and it clangs across the ground. It feels like my entire world falls apart, but due to some miracle, the key manages to stay on the wooden walkway. Throwing my entire body down, I grab the key and hover just a few inches away from the keyhole. My eyes notice something on the key and I lift it up to my face. It's writing, it's on the top. If he dies, it's all your fault, Wally. It's mocking me. My teeth grit and I push it out of mine. I have to focus on getting this person out. It takes me a few attempts before I finally push the key in and open it and turn it. As soon as I feel the lock clicking into place, the mechanical sounds of the gears turning dies down. I struggle in panic from whoever strung up there quiets down with it. They seem to understand that it's stopping too. There's a flooding feeling of relief surging through me. I can't believe I did it. Running across that plank almost killed me twice, but I'm glad I did it. Even though I was my way across the entire thing, I still only have 4 platforms remaining. It would have taken at least double that time to make it across if if I had taken my time. With my pride dulling the ache in my body, I'm able to get back to my feet with a little struggle. The sound of gears turning catches my attention is much quieter than the previous one. As I walk around the room, the platform behind the support beam in the center of the room rises. The moment it locks into place, I'm crossing towards the middle. This platform is thicker than a plank, and after that mess, it's hard to still feel. It's hard to still feel scared. It's like I'm all out of terror. Making my way to the hooded figure, they don't seem to be struggling much at all now. I guess he's completely out of fear. I guess he's completely out of fear too. I know I would be. Hey, I got you. You're safe now. There's not even a muzzle response, but I can hear him breathing. My attempts at undoing the knot at the back of the noose are pretty unsuccessful. Having one so close to one is making me feel nauseous, much more so than the walk of death earlier. Giving up, I notice that the sack covering their face isn't actually under the noose, so I can just take it off. I'm taking the sack off. Don't freak out, okay? Again, there's no response. It's an eerie feeling again, but I shouldn't let my panic. But I still let myself panic. That'll only cause things to get much worse. I pull off the sack and I'm met with a sight that settles me. It's an otter, and not just any otter. It's a familiar otter I've become close friends with over the last few days. Except there's something wrong with him. His entire body is rotting and decomposing. Most of his fur is missing, and the skin underneath is a light blue color. He's still got that massive grin on his face, but he's lacking that sincere look in his eyes. In fact, his eyes look completely dead. The smile doesn't reach them. I can't dwell on that, as it sounds more awful than anything else occurs. It's that familiar snapping sound. Just like that, there's nothing under me any longer. The last remaining platforms drop down. There's not a movement to think, and I grab onto the otter's tail tightly. When I fall enough, I feel my arms being pulled so tightly, I'm scared they might come out of their sockets. A sickening snapping sound cracks above my head. Looking up, I can see Oscar's neck forced up at an unnatural angle. His eyes are still fixated on me, though they're completely dull with no emotions. That smile never leaves his face, making him look like some kind of demented psychopath. If that wasn't enough, though, his entire body starts rapidly rotting. Before I can even make a sound, his entire fur and skin are gone. Even less time passes before it's just bone. His hollow, empty eye sockets are staring deep into me, and in that final moment, I know this is truly hell. The bones in all his clothing disintegrate into dust and I'm falling. His eyes are still fixated on me, though. They're completely dull with no emotions. That smile never leaves. His eyes are still fixated on me. They're completely dull with no emotions. That smile never leaving his face, making him look like some kind of demented psychopath. If that wasn't enough, though, his entire body starts rapidly rotting. Before I can even make a sound, his entire fur and skin are gone. Even less time passes before it's just bone. His hollow, empty eye sockets are staring deep into me. In that final moment, I know this is truly hell. The bones of all his clothing disintegrate into dust and I'm falling. I'm not able to make any sounds. Shock has completely crippled my body. Before long, I'm completely surrounded by the darkness, falling internally into the empty void. I'm sorry. I made it in time, but it still wasn't enough. My body jolts and my muscles tighten as I spring up, barely managing to stop myself from shouting out in panic. Light bursts in front of me, and I feel myself falling forward, the sudden movement causing me to lose my balance. As the falling sensation returns, numbness overwhelms my senses. A complacent acceptance of death. That is, until the falling sensation stops and I'm caught by something or someone. Instinct takes the takes control and I thrash against whatever's got a hold of me before a voice makes me stop. Hey, calm down, man. It's just me. That familiar voice. Hey, calm down, man. It's just me. That familiar, smooth, and comforting voice brings me back to reality and my surroundings begin to come into focus. I'm in a classroom where we were having our next media class and Oscar totally on to me. He's focused entirely on me. He's wearing a concerned look. He's got one of his strong arms wrapped around my waist, holding me up without any effort. It's now that I realize the position I'm in. I've completely slid off my chair. In my panic, he's caught me before I hit the ground. The surrealness of the situation fades away, and I notice just how heavily I'm breathing. God, it's like I'm hyperventilating. Hey, it's okay. It's just a bad dream. You're fine. Oscar's voice is soft and gentle, like he's talking to a child, even though it's embarrassing, it's also very comforting. What ruins that comfort is the rest of the classroom. Lee is standing and looking like he's ready to come rush to my side. Lucas and Lily look like they're both frozen in socks, stare at me. The rest of the class is staring at me as well. A sickly anxiousness fills my head and my stomach is overwhelmed by a nauseous sensation. Finally able to muster strength to move, I put my feet down and some of my weight on them. They're shaking slightly but seem stable enough. The thick arm around me is still holding me close but loose enough for me to pull myself out of his grip. Standing up, I snatch my laptop bag and rush to the exit. The bouncing motion of running gives me a sense of dizziness, but I force myself to push my way through the door. The corridor outside the room is cold and fills me with dread. It's just a normal hallway, unlike the more rotted, decrepit one from my nightmare. It doesn't stop the lingering panic in my chest from pushing me to pick up my pace, and I'm barely able to keep myself from running. The stairwell itself feels different now. It's just as cold as the corridor, but the air feels refreshing. A very light, gentle breeze brushes against my face, and the sensation of relief that surges through me is familiar. It's like when I left home, but with a lot more frantic movement and breathing. I barely managed a few steps before needing to lean against the handrail, my breath still coming out as a heaving rasp that echo in the silent stairwell. Seconds go by in near silence, and I can feel myself calming down. My breathing begins to get slower and slower until it's a barely audible pant. It's at this moment that I realize just what's been going on. What an awful fucked up dream. Did I really think that up? I didn't think I was that disturbed. But it was so vivid, so raw. I could feel the coldness of the key in my hand, and the sound of his snapping neck is still ringing in my head. The way he hung there, like there was nothing left but cold resentment staring down at me. That empty, hollow stare, the rust of emotions, the total silence. Emotions overwhelm me and I need to sit down, but my legs won't move anymore. I didn't realize how tired I am, and not from lack of sleep, not anymore. I think I'm just a bit fatigued from working myself up, or at least I hope so. Shuffling over towards the stairs, I sit down on the bottom step and pull out my phone. My phone hovers over the message tab, but the thought that his message might be there is terrifying. Bursting through the hesitation, I open up my new text, bracing myself for whatever I might find. But there's no weird message there, nothing from Marcus at all, just my latest text from Lily. Of course it wasn't real. Why would it be? Despite the relief flowing through me, there's a lingering ache still in my chest as my eyes linger on my saved messages folder. I'm not allowed to dwell on it though, as the silence is shattered by the sounds of someone jogging down the hall. Just a few moments later, a familiar face rounds the corner. It's Oscar. His face is plastered with a smile once again, but it looks a lot more contained than usual, like he's putting it on for my sake. There you are. Was worried I was gonna have to run and catch up to you. I'm sorry. I probably freaked you out. What? Nah, you were fine. Just had me worried for a second before I realized that you were just having a nightmare. Just having a nightmare. God, I made such a big scene over nothing. I buried my face into my hands, feeling my cheeks grow warmer with each second. That feeling of anxiety and surrounding sobers into humiliation. You doing okay? Oscar speaks in that soft tone he used when he was surveying me in the classroom. It doesn't match his boisterous personality, but it's filled with that sincerity that's always surrounded him. But is it really that unlike him? Now that I think about it, Oscar's always been looking out for me, even when I was a complete stranger to him. I always thought of myself as an open-minded person, but I think I'm a lot more judgmental than I thought. Yeah, I'm okay. It was just a silly nightmare. I don't know why I freaked out so much. It just felt so real. I guess the panic didn't leave after I woke up. You look really shook up, man. Sounds like you need to take your mind off it. Yeah, maybe you're right. Of course I'm right. Now want to get out of here? But what? Taking my face out of my hands, I can see Oscar standing right in front of me. He's leaning over me, and it's a stark reminder of just how tall Oscar is. He towers over me with that smile still covering his face like it always does. His eyes are shimmering with excitement, and he bends down further to get closer to my height. After squatting a bit as well, he manages to get to my eye level. His face is only a few inches away from my own, and it causes my face to flush for a different reason. Chlorine fills my nose, but it's mixed in with an underlying odor musk. It's a thick smell that pushes through a distinct chemical scent. I don't have any classes for the rest of the day, so I'm free to cheer you up. Huh? Oh, you don't have to really. I should just go home and sleep. You'll want to go home and sleep after that? The thought of potentially sinking back into that nightmare is a daunting prospect. The suffocating hallway of decay and the image of the gallows isn't something I want to live anytime soon. Not really. Exactly. You should. Exactly. So you should let me make you feel better. Make me feel better? Yeah, but I'll cheer you up. You sure you're still not out of it? Wait, is he not flirting with me? That was flirting, right? Do I just have a dirty mind? No way. What did he... No way, what he did in the library was too overt. There's just no way it's not flirting. He must be messing with me. Maybe I should just ask. Hey, Oscar, yeah? His smile looks to be getting wider as if he knows exactly what I'm going to ask. His eyes flashing a glint of mischief that makes me wonder if I'm stepping into a trap. Or you... I'm interrupted by the sound of multiple footsteps coming down the hall, and I become more aware of just how close our faces were. Quickly pulling away, Oscar only gives us a light chuckle and straightens up himself. Around the corner comes Lily and the other two members of our group. I quickly get up off the step, and I wanted them to be too worried about me. I don't think I'll be too successful, but I have to try. She has a look of shock on her face, but when she sees us at the stairs, and her sudden stop almost causes the other two to walk into her. Oh, I didn't think you guys would be here. Are you doing okay? You looked really upset earlier. Yeah, I'm doing okay. Oscar cheered me up. You look like you need it, you know? The doctor suddenly wraps an arm around my shoulder, pulling me against him for only a moment as he rubs my shoulder. I'm glad you're doing better, but you probably shouldn't head home right away. You're probably still rather vulnerable, and no one should be alone after a panic attack. Yeah, I understand. You're probably right. Are we going back to class? Oh no, I talked to the professor. He said we could leave early. I just explained that we had already decided on the topic earlier and wanted to make sure you were okay. Looks like the meeting yesterday wasn't just for fun, though it was definitely fun. We gotta do it again sometime. Lily giggles at his childish enthusiasm, but Lucas and Lee were ignoring him. focusing on me instead. Their neutral express is hiding what they're thinking. The atmosphere of having everyone together is warming and relaxing. It really does feel like I'm surrounded by a group of friends. I do have more classes today, so I can't stay around, but I'm sure there's someone else who has finished all their classes for the day, guys. I don't go to my other classes anyway. I was going to the library to study. It's quiet there if you know where to go. I'm finished for the day, but I do have to go pick up my sister. She has soccer club on Wednesdays and she'll be done soon. I don't like to leave her to walk home alone. Here come though. I'm all cleared out for the day. Was just going to head over to the gym for a swim though. Would love if you came along though, Wallace. Not often I get to show off my swimming abilities. It's what we artists were built for, you know? I feel like it isn't his swimming skills he wants to show off. I told you, I'll cheer you up, especially when I say that this is the best way to do it. His eyes have that beautiful simmer to them again. It's hard to resist getting lost in them. He's really trying to look out for me. Even he's going about it in his own strange way. My offer from Monday still stands too. Your offer? Yeah. To come swimming with me. Silly you remember that, so you gotta come with. Unless you don't want to. He walks closer and leans down a bit to whisper in my ear, my first standing up as he does. I wouldn't want to make you uncomfortable. He flashes me that same mischievous smile he had when he was showing off in the library before moving away again. Lee is glaring at Oscar, but the author ignores him, looking incredibly proud of himself. Looks like you got a lot of options. I'm gonna head off to get some food before the next class. I'll text you later to make sure you're doing good, okay? Yeah, thanks. I'm sure I'll be fine, though. I bet you will, too. Doesn't mean I don't get to be worried. And with that, she skips up the stairs. She seems to always have this positive aura about her. It's infectious. I already miss having her presence in the group. So, Wallace, who are you going with? Oh, sorry. I'm gonna stop here, so kind of have a rough time with weeding, you know. Sometimes I do good weeding, sometimes I don't. Kind of trip over words, I don't know. Yeah, I haven't had my coffee yet, and so, and I don't know, my lips is just dry. It keeps drying up, but anyway. So, he had a horrible dream, and he saw Oscar or Noose being hanged, and his flesh was decomposing, and that was a horrible dream he had. I wonder if he went to sleep earlier that night, if he would have had the same dream, or I don't know, but maybe he might have still had that dream if he went to sleep earlier and got proper rest. But again, maybe not. Maybe he did sleep earlier and got more hours of sleep. Maybe that horrible dream would not have happened, I guess. But anyway, I believe that person that he thought called him was his boyfriend, at least an ex-boyfriend he had. We don't entirely know their situation, but there was kind of like, I don't know, but anyway, so, well, the message said, I'm sorry, so I guess the boyfriend did something bad to, what's his name? I forget, keep forgetting his name. Wallace. Okay, so it seems the boyfriend did something wrong to Wallace, but we'll have to figure out what that is as we continue. So hopefully next time I'll be able to read better. I'll be be in a better state, Anyway, So we're gonna continue next time, and obviously, since we're on Oscar's route right now, we're going to pick to go to the gym with Oscar. So I'm gonna stop here, and we'll continue with this choice next time. So yeah, but Lon seems to have a lot of good friends now. It's just a short amount of time. But again, I guess you could think that group project, they has these friends here with him. But again, he already had some minor encounters with them before the group project, and they certainly have been a lot more like genuine friends, not fake friends or people who just talk to you but they don't really care much about you. They seem to be really concerned about him, especially from Oscar. But again, we're on Oscar's route, so that may be why. But anyway, Lily, she certainly is very caring towards Wallace. Was very concerned about what happened and wanted to make sure he was okay. All of them did. So yeah, I think Wallace, despite what just happened, seems to have a good situation. Very good situation with all of them being his friends now, or at least people who do talk to him and have some concern for him. So that's all I got for now. Thank y'all very much for watching. Goodbye.